Oye, Lily dice que AT&T le da a todos las mejores ofertas.
Minus the air quotes.
Las mejores ofertas.
No need to wink. Others say they give everyone a deal, but not everyone gets the best deal.
Te lo dije, aquí las mejores ofertas son para todos con una variedad de planes.
You were right.
Is she always right?
Always.
En AT&T les damos a todos nuestras mejores ofertas en cada smartphone.
Broadcasting live from Houston, from the space city to the world. You are watching NowMedia Television.
Hi everyone, this is Mac Pierre-Louis, attorney, mediator, and alongside Natalia Olowska-Czajka. Welcome back to Legal Talk with Natalia and Mac.
Thank you so much for joining us today, where we again will be waiting for you with some interesting legal topics we want to share. And as usual, to start and warm up, we want to present something important to our practices as family lawyers. And in the previous episodes, we started the talk about the divorce in Texas. The issue is that whereas it is really an uneasy topic on many people, it's also a matter of huge importance for attorneys because they are handling something very delicate in people's life. A moment of crisis, a moment where people are really facing difficulties and a lot of uncertainty of how their future life is going to look like. And therefore, attorneys bring to this profession not just the professionalism required in the courtroom, but also some sort of human-to-human advice and human-to-human care in those types of cases. Mac, can you tell us how do you handle that when it comes to human emotions in this uneasy process?
Yeah, so be sure if you haven't watched the other discussions we've had, check out prior episodes of this on the same topic on NowMedia and the LMI podcast, where we recorded on this specific topic. But another area is what Natalia is discussing as the human-to-human element. So divorce within family law, unlike other areas of law, is extremely specific when it comes to the parent-child relationship and the marital relationship between spouses. And because of that, you don't just walk into a law office and get any lawyer off the street. You would get an attorney who you believe can be empathetic, sympathetic, and appreciate what you have gone through, okay? Because it's a very life-changing scenario you're going through, where the consequences that will impact your children will impact them for, until they're 18, if not longer. So when it comes to me, I want to make sure that I'm doing the counselor of law component. I'm not a licensed counselor or a clinician in any way. However, I have worked with so many people going through this issue in their life. You start seeing a lot of patterns. You start seeing things that women typically say. You start seeing things that guys typically say. You start appreciating the impact that adultery can have in a relationship. You start appreciating what it means for when people feel betrayed and how that might fuel their passion to try to get some kind of revenge or justice on their part. So humans, we are not just robots. We are not in a area of law where we're dealing with widgets or cars, like a personal injury claim, or something where you're dealing with real estate or just property. We're dealing with an issue where the lawyer has to be coming in almost like a nurse or like a doctor, where they're trying to help the person feel better, where they're trying to help the person look at things through reframing, helping the spouse who's going through a divorce understand the situation in a way that's not just from how they see it, but from the perspective of others. And reminding the person, sometimes when you gotta go and have your issue tried before a judge, that judge who has never met you in their life, who doesn't know your kid, that judge will have the power to make decisions over you. And so it's very, very important that you try to see things from a different perspective and try to see where your spouse might be coming from in order to try to reach resolution before you go to a court.
And when you mentioned that, Mark, I thank you so much for exposing this important factor that happens in people's life in the divorce process, which might not be this obvious to many, that in the divorce process you appear not just as a spouse, sometimes a hurt spouse, someone who suffers, but also as a parent, as a responsible parent who is there for the child to also enable co-parenting. Can you tell us how does co-parenting is being treated in Houston, in Texas, when it comes to divorce?
So judges expect, the law expect, that both parents be involved in a child's life. That's what we want. Kids need their parents, both sides. However, sometimes, as you guys know, parents don't always get along. And when they don't get along, we have to have an intervener, like a judge, getting involved to make decisions on what is in the child's best interest. And that's the general standard of review for most of these cases, the best interest of the child. And I've met so many parents who disagree on what is in the child's best interest. Sometimes they'll say things like, I am my child's best interest. And a lot of times, though, if parents cannot see eye to eye, then what are you going to have? You're going to have a third person, a stranger who doesn't know your kid, making decisions that will impact the kid for life. So that's the first issue, that the parent-child relationship is something that is supposed to exist, but far too often, especially when you have custody battles, it's sometimes one parent trying to show that the other parent is unfit. And a lot of times for good reason, because the other parent is unfit. They're doing things that are dangerous to children or neglectful to children. But a lot of times I see parents basically trying to tear each other down, and where it's not necessarily in the child's best interest, but it's sometimes about ego, sometimes it's about a drive to show the court that another parent, should be out of the kid's life or should be supervised. Listen, if you truly have proof or evidence that a parent is acting, in a negative way towards a child, you got to protect your child, and you need to make sure that you bring up the proof to the authorities, to the courts, to CPS, to your lawyer, so that the truth can come out. However, if there is no evidence, it does not help a child when one parent tries to pit themselves against the other parent, or more egregiously, try to pit the child against a parent. I've just seen, when you do this business enough, you just see all the good, the bad, and the ugly in these kinds of cases. And so it just begs me to call it out. And I've represented moms, I've represented dads over the years, I've represented grandparents over the years. I've sometimes had the opportunity to represent children, whether it's ad litem or an amicus. And so there's just so much to be said about the importance of this kind of thing and why parents should be very, very cautious. And speak to your lawyer, but be very cautious when you're going into this area of dealing with the parent-child relationship in courts.
Another thing that makes divorces so difficult is the fact that so many important issues intersect. You are not just divorcing, you are also deciding of the future of your kids in terms of custody, so who is going to be taking care of them, but also in terms of child support. And all of that is being decided in one case. Am I correct, Mac?
So yes, generally, I know in other jurisdictions it's going to be divided. The issue of maintenance or support for a child will differ from the issue of custody. But first, let's just get this out of the way. There is no such thing as custody in Texas. The issue is conservatorship versus possession. And every single day, I'm talking to parties who come to me who want me to help them get custody or help them not have their custody taken away. And what I always have to start off with is the issue is not custody. The issue is conservatorship, meaning decision-making. Who gets to make decisions, major decisions for the child's life? Decisions like where the child lives, decisions about education, medical, psychological decisions, decisions about military and marriage, decisions about the whole list, legal decisions. It goes on and on and on. So that's the first topic, decision-making. The last issue is possession. How much time should a parent have with their child? And if there was a non-custodial parent, the NCP we like to call them, what kind of schedule should that parent have? A standard possession order, a week on, week off schedule, a 2-2-3 schedule? What kind of schedule should that parent have to possess? And so, but far too often, one parent will conflate the two issues and mix it up and just say, I want custody. Well, whether or not you get primary conservatorship, guess what? You're still going to have the right to see your kid, unless your rights are terminated, of course, which is a whole nother discussion. So these issues of support, jurisdiction, custody, for lack of a better word, are issues that need to be dealt with all the time. But we encourage parents to go and talk to attorneys to deal with these topics, in addition to the property, which is a whole nother thing we haven't even discussed. But make sure that you speak to your lawyer also about the property component of your divorce case, because the law, the judges have power to make decisions over the property of the marriage and how it's going to be divided fairly and equitably, just and right. The law does not say 50-50. It says fair and equitable, just and right division to make sure that the spouses get awarded to them, whether it's assets or debt, the stuff that they need in order to come out of the marriage whole and healthy. So that's it for now. Natalia, I'll let you close out. I thank you so much for interviewing me and asking me these questions about this jurisdiction that I love, that I work in every day. And hopefully one day we'll be able to get you to give the European perspective and the Polish perspective on these kind of very important topics.
That will be my greatest pleasure. But in the meantime, I'll see you and the viewers after the break.
Hey, Lily says AT&T is giving everyone their best deals.
Minus the air quotes.
Best deals.
No need to wink. Others say they give everyone a deal, but not everyone gets the best deal.
Told you, the best deals are for everyone here, with a choice of plans.
You were right.
Is she always right?
Always.
At AT&T, we give everyone our best deals on every smartphone.
Stop and think. How often do you take the time to set goals? And when you set those goals, how often do you hit them? The problem is the word goal setting. We all have goals, but goals are just wishes. Goals are what we want. What we really need is called result setting. My name is Katrin Becker, and what I do is create tailor-made result plans that ensure people will hit their targets. If you are committed for real results, let's chat and see which program is right for you and your team. Goals are just what we want, but together, results are what we will achieve.
Are you a business owner feeling overwhelmed or burnt out with no energy left for what's most important to you? In order to effectively run your business and maximize your profits, you have got to be the best possible you that you can be. Now is the time to reclaim your energy, master your schedule, and maximize your profits so you can effectively run your business rather than it running you. It's time to become the CEO of your business and life. I'm Jen Godet, a business strategist and life coach. I work with overwhelmed business owners who feel stuck in a rut and depleted. I teach you how to stop doing the things that aren't making you money and start prioritizing the things that bring you energy, joy, and lasting impact. I'm a human performance specialist and an international best-selling author. I've helped countless people all over the world to learn the art of saying no, overcome their fear, and maximize their performance. Let's get you to live your best possible reality. Start today and become the CEO of your business and your life.
The tax and bookkeeping team is key to any successful business. At Gunderson's Bookkeeping, our passion is to help small business owners grow, be profitable, and to prosper. We specialize in supporting small to mid-sized business owners who want to hire a full-time or even a part-time bookkeeper, but just do not have the funds. In addition, we free business owners from the tedious tasks of bookkeeping and help them focus on their business operations, their growth, and profitability. Gunderson's Bookkeeping is your business solutions partner offering a broad range of services to meet the needs of our clients. A profitable business needs accurate and reliable books, so take a strong step and call us today for your personal, no-risk consultation.
Hi, my name is Elias Basabe, founder of Little Maria's Cafe restaurant in West Houston, located in 2901 Wilkers Drive, Suite 137, first floor. Here you will find a family-friendly and relaxed environment where you can enjoy a delicious homemade breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We know you need to get to work fast, and we want you to enjoy a tasty, quality, and healthy homemade food. So come and visit us for a great nutritious meal at an affordable price. We specialize in tasty breakfasts, deli sandwiches, fish, even barbecue cookouts. Little Maria's Cafe has it all. We only use the great quality of bird's head meats and products. Just like you, we love to get you up early. Little Maria's Cafe is open from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. You can dine in with us during breakfast, lunch, or dinner, or we can have it ready for you for pickup. Visit us today on the first floor of the CMPC Center at 2901 Wilkers Drive, Suite 137, first floor. Order now at 832-667-8376, Little Maria's Cafe.
Hey, are you a small business owner that's struggling to double or triple your revenue and profits? My name is Michael Rager. I'm your business guide with Teach Your Business to Fish. Our success operating system will help you double or triple your profits every 2 to 3 years while actually maintaining some semblance of a home life. Call us at 713-201-5559 and we'll help you become a real success.
Are you ready to talk about all things real estate? Hi, I'm Michelle Briggs, the host of Your Person Real Estate. Join me every Thursday at 5 p.m. and discover everything you should know about the real estate world.
And hi, we're back. So now we're moving on to another segment that's going to talk about settling your debts, especially debts that can be negotiated or resolved outside of court and outside of having to get lawyers involved or getting judgments against you. And so we're glad to have our good friend again, Tye Bourdony of the Central Florida Mediation Center. And Tye, can you tell us a little bit about this topic? Why is it so important to try to work out arrangements to settle your debts, and then what are some things people can do?
Thank you. Always a pleasure to be with you guys. And yeah, you know, this happens to folks. It happens to everybody. It happens to our households. Something happens there's a medical debt, there's a credit card, something you purchased, and for some reason, there's some kind of hardship or you just didn't pay it. And eventually they come knocking on the door, and a lot of times they sue you, in small claims court. And so the things that I have seen work well for folks, in essence, are a couple of things. One, you want to try and settle the debt before you get to court, right? Before mediation or at mediation. Now, again, that's going to be different from state to state, county to county. But the point of the matter is, what are the things that are going to work when you try and settle that? So the first thing is, typically, as soon as they start calling you, they're not interested in settling debt. It's usually once you're at the 5, 6, 7, 8 months mark before they sue you, or once they sue you, that's when they will be willing to try and settle the debt. How do you settle that debt? So you can either offer them a lump sum, right? Now, everybody doesn't always have a lump sum, I know, but the ways that they will do it is lump sum. Their ears will perk up for lump sum. And so anywhere from, say, 25 to 50% of that debt, let's say you owe $6,000. So I would go from 25 and work my way up to 50% and see if they'll accept it. Now, you're going to have that money, however, ready to send to them within 24, 48 hours, 5, 10 days or so in 1 or 2 payments. If you can do that, that's going to be one of the most effective ways to settle your debt. Now, with that said, you're going to want to make sure that anything that you agree to, that they give it to you in writing. If like, oh, don't worry, start paying and then we'll do. No, get it in writing from them once. Most importantly, get it in writing when you agree. Don't send anything before you have it in writing, right? Now, who, however, is going to have 25 to 50% of a debt? A lot of folks aren't going to have it. If you haven't been able to pay it, you're not going to be able to have that lump sum. So most folks wind up having to come to an agreement on a payment plan, right? Now, if you don't have the money, you're probably looking at paying most of that payment plan, most of that debt off. That's going to include if there's court costs, if there's attorney's fees, interest. That's why being able to do a lump sum is awesome if you can, but if you can't, then the question is going to become, well, when would they be willing to work with you to give you a lower amount on that monthly debt? The question is going to be, is there a hardship? So if you had a hardship, there was a death in the family, there was a sickness, I lost my job, I'm the sole provider, typically those kinds of things are going to be the things that are going to allow them to take a lesser amount on a monthly basis. Be sure that you don't bite off more than you can chew, right? Let them know how much you can afford. Because oftentimes, if you come to an agreement and you start making that payment and then you stop making that payment, you're going to get something like an automatic judgment against you. Now, I'm talking about cases that have already, the action's been initiated in court, right? Is what I'm talking about there. But just make sure that if you come to agreement, you can actually afford those payments.
And Tye, these are everyday life situations that we can have those debts, we can fall behind. And once we are entrepreneurs who actually have clients who owe us, how would you suggest would be a wise way to try and approach that so that we are sure we at least get something?
That's a great question, actually, and that does happen in business, right? You do some work for someone and they don't pay you. What are you going to do? Well, my sense is try and work with them, try and help them come to a payment plan. But also, I would tell you, like in my engagement letters, there's some teeth to what you're agreeing to, and that is, if someone doesn't pay you, well, then my fees are going to change. That you're going to be liable for court costs. You're going to have to pay attorney's fees. So talk to them and let them know, hey, look, I understand you're going through a hard time. Can I work with you? How much can you afford? Is there a monthly payment plan that you can afford? And sometimes they're going to be happy, they're going to be thankful, and they will pay you. Sometimes they won't. And so then that's why it's important to make sure that the remedies that are afforded to you are in your contract, in your engagement letter. But at the end of the day, try and work with them. Oftentimes, people are having a hard time and they need a little bit of help. And I have found every once in a while it doesn't work, but more often than not, it does. And they'll be appreciative, and they will. It may take a little bit longer, but I'd rather wait a little bit and get my money than take a hard line and then you get nothing. And then even if I get a judgment, it's not easy to collect on a judgment, is it? Sometimes people just need to be heard and they need to be helped out. And more often than not, payment plans do work out for folks, and they are willing to take care of it. So be nice. Offer a little bit of help, and if that doesn't work, then go to your legal.
Yeah, and Tye, when we talk about this whole debt thing, what about other legal obligations that are outside of small claims court? Because most of the examples you've just been talking about will tend to focus around small claims.
Yeah.
You owe $6,000, $10,000 to the Bank of America. You haven't paid it. They go after you, and now you're trying to negotiate. But what about if it's a different kind of debt, like child support debt, for example? Because let's face it, a lot of people owe that kind of debt, and usually there's interest on that kind of debt because it's statutory, it's lawful, it's the law. So are there any ways or tips you could give for people to work those kind of debts out?
That's a great question. And as a family mediator, that comes up a lot. So the first thing I would say is, that money isn't mom's money, not dad's money. It's the minor child's money. That's an obligation that needs to be paid. It's paying for your child's upbringing. So let's pay our child support. But things happen, right? The problem with child support is, so if I owe a creditor money, I'm not going to jail. But if you owe child support and you willingly don't pay, you can get sent to jail for something like that. And so, if in fact you owe money. Now, in Florida, the parties can negotiate retroactive child support, money that's owed between the parties. Now, that's the parties can negotiate that. But typically, while the court may entertain that, they're not going to entertain, can I come to an agreement on how much I have to pay on a monthly basis? No. There are child support guidelines, and the parties have to pay what the guidelines, indicate typically. But where there's leeway is older debts, where the party, I haven't paid something, I owe something. Parties can, like in mediation, oftentimes parties will come to agreement on what is owed. So that's the place where there's some leeway. But typically, what your monthly obligation is, you should just pay your monthly obligation because the minor child needs to get supported.
And Tye, how crucial it is, especially in small claims, to consult an attorney about going there, and which way, at which moment of this entire procedure it is worthwhile. You were saying before the court, but is it worthwhile still mediating and trying to settle that when you are already in the court?
Absolutely. I think it's always a good idea to get legal consultation from a licensed attorney, not only in your state, but typically in the jurisdiction, in that county where this action is taking place. Talk to an attorney who's familiar with that process, with that court, with those judges. Get a consultation. It is worth its weight in gold. And then from there, that attorney can give you their advice, and then you can decide, do I need to hire this attorney, or is this something I can do myself? I would err on the side of not only getting legal advice, but hiring an attorney. They know how to do this. They do it on a regular basis. They know what to say, how to say it, when to say it. They do this every day. Parties don't. So it's, at the very least, get legal advice. And the question is, should I hire an attorney? How much is the debt? If the debt is a high debt, hire the attorney because they're going to save you money. And if it's a lower debt, get a consultation and they'll give you a good idea on the best way to move forward. Always a good idea. Thank you for asking. Always a good idea to get a legal opinion and a consultation. Always.
And Tye, if people want to get a hold of you, where can they look up? What's the best way to get in contact with you?
So I'm the director of the Mediation Center of Central Florida. cfmediationcenter.com and or cfmediationcenter@gmail.com. And I'm happy to talk to anyone.
And you can always get hold of Tye and his knowledge also on our podcast at LMI Podcast on YouTube and see what Tye has to offer more. And this time we'll just finish with that.
And others. There's so many other great individuals you guys have on there.
Thank you. Yes, and we will see you after the break. Thank you so much.
¿Quieres que tu negocio crezca y todo parece indicar que el camino es Estados Unidos? Te dijeron que abras una LLC para que no pagues impuestos, mas no tienes idea de cómo hacerlo. Soy Edmundo Treviño y quiero compartir contigo más de 20 años como empresario en Estados Unidos para que tú no te equivoques en los mismos errores que yo ya realicé. Sígueme en todas las redes sociales para que juntos conquistemos el mercado americano.
Hey, Lily says AT&T is giving everyone their best deals.
Minus the air quotes.
Best deals.
No need to wink. Others say they give everyone a deal, but not everyone gets the best deal.
Told you, the best deals are for everyone here, with a choice of plans.
You were right.
Is she always right?
Always.
At AT&T, we give everyone our best deals on every smartphone.
En esta era digital, las tarjetas de presentación de negocio son cosa del pasado. De hecho, la mayoría de las personas que las reciben las pierden en cuestión de minutos. La videotarjeta de negocios de NowMedia es un video de su negocio especialmente creado por nuestros expertos con toda su información de contacto, los productos y servicios de su negocio y puede ser enviado de manera rápida utilizando su teléfono móvil. Cientos de negocios ya están viendo la diferencia. Llámenos hoy al 832-384-9588.
Soy Salvador García Soto y a partir de este lunes quiero comentarle que las noticias de la noche cambian de horario. De lunes a viernes a las 10 lo espero por el canal 10. Ya lo sabe, el mejor análisis, las historias, los personajes están aquí en las noticias de la noche del Heraldo Televisión. Las noticias donde deben de estar. Acompáñeme a las 10 por el 10.
República H, con Sofía García.
Una república que necesita saber cuál es el camino correcto. En República H te diremos qué pasa en cada rincón del país. ¿Qué pasa en tu estado? ¿Qué hace tu gobernador, presidente municipal o alcalde en materia de seguridad, salud, desarrollo, economía o servicios básicos para atender a su población? Tenemos desplegados más de 70 corresponsales en todo el país y más allá de las fronteras. República H, de lunes a viernes a las 8 de la noche por Heraldo Televisión.
La mejor información nacional e internacional llega ahora a los Estados Unidos con NowMedia. De las 7 a las 10 de la mañana de lunes a viernes. Guadalupe Juárez y Sergio Sarmiento estamos en NowMedia Television en una colaboración con el Heraldo Media Group.
¿Quieres que tu negocio crezca y todo parece indicar que el camino es Estados Unidos? Te dijeron que abras una LLC para que no pagues impuestos, mas no tienes idea de cómo hacerlo. Soy Edmundo Treviño y quiero compartir contigo más de 20 años como empresario en Estados Unidos para que tú no te equivoques en los mismos errores que yo ya realicé. Sígueme en todas las redes sociales para que juntos conquistemos el mercado americano.
Le invita a su servidor Javier Solórzano a que todas las noches en Heraldo Televisión esté con nosotros entre las 21 horas y las 22 horas del centro en Referente. Estamos informando, tratando de que usted tenga todas las piezas de este rompecabezas informativo cotidiano a través de Referente. Lo esperamos, Heraldo Televisión, Referente, 21 a 22 horas. Javier Solórzano.
Hello and welcome after the break. In the next segment we are going to present today, we are having with us Tope Popoola, who is a leadership business consultant and a mediator, currently working in Houston. And it is our great pleasure to have him. We have introduced and presented him already on our podcast, where there is more to watch from him. And Tope is also a very popular writer. He specializes in doing a lot of business consultancy and business leadership trainings. And Tope, it's great to have you with us.
Thank you very much, Natalia. It's my pleasure.
Today we're going to be talking about law as business. And Tope, you have been researching a lot about business and client relationships. You have been helping a lot of businesses with that. When it comes specifically to the legal business, how does law profession differ from other businesses, and what we as lawyers need to be careful about?
All right, thank you very much. Just like a whole lot of other professions, the legal profession always, a lot of lawyers build the profession or the practice around their personality, and they don't go beyond that. Now, one of the things that must change is that people must begin to see everything they do as business. And what is business? Business is something that you do to solve problems for a significant number of people. Let me define it this way. It is solving a significant problem for a significant number of people in a significant way that makes them compensate you with a significant reward. I hope you get the concept, the sequence. You're solving a significant problem for a significant number of people, all right, in a significant way that makes you now give you what you call compensation or what you call your charges, right? So you don't just want to have charges or give charges, you want to earn the fees. So that's the dimension that a lot of people make mistakes. Now, can the business run when you're not in the office? And those are some of the things you need to ask yourself to build in order to build a business around a profession, all right? If people come to your office and they don't see Natalia, will they still give your company a brief? All right? So, you're talking about, by the time you begin to talk about business, there are things you're looking at. You're looking at defining a vision or a why for the profession in the first place. Why am I a lawyer? Why did I get into the law profession? Is it for social status, just to enhance my social status? Is it just to make more money because the legal profession brings in a lot of money? Is it because that's what my parents wanted me to study when I was younger? Now, what is it that drives the practice? That is so important, because whatever drives your practice is what will establish your why. And it is the strength of your why that will also result in the strength of your vision. So, why does this establishment exist? And then you can, draft what you call a mission statement, which becomes your compass that guides the way you deal with clients, the way you handle cases, the types of cases you will handle, and the types of cases you will not touch. When you have a vision, it gives you also, it helps you to set what I call your core values. And those core values would also determine your focus, which gets back to the issue of reputation. What kind of image do you want to build as a practice?
Yeah, Tope, most lawyers were never taught or trained on how to actually run a law office or manage their legal profession as a business. I think this is one thing that's greatly undervalued in law schools. Law students go to law school, get a lot of head theory, learn a lot of legal concepts, and then are thrown out there and told to go practice law. But then when it comes to customer relations and customer service and making their customers and the consumer happy and giving a good service, sometimes they just really mess it up. And I've heard this from many lawyers who never learned. So what if there's a lawyer out there who's watching this, okay, and they don't know, especially a young attorney who doesn't really know how to make their profession, what they do, their passion, a business that they can be proud of, what would be some tips, some quick tips you would give to them so that they can get to school real fast on this topic?
All right. Number one, if you want to build a business, you must understand the power of structure. You have to understand the power of structure. You know, earlier I talked about a vision. I talked about a why, right? If you don't know what your why is, it's actually very difficult to build all these other things. Otherwise, you just think that, oh, I'm a lawyer. What do lawyers do? They go to court to win or to lose, to argue a case, win or lose. And they come back home. And, you know, the money, if the money is good, everybody is fine. I buy a big house, I get a good car, and I live happily ever after. But it's beyond that. You have to understand that whatever you do is bigger than you. So when you're building a structure, you're building a system that serves a vision that is bigger than you. You have to have a vision of doing something that will outlive you. Why do you have some law firms that, you know, where you find that the owners, the people who started them are dead, but the firm still keeps, you know, it keeps going. So you're talking about structures and you're talking about service-centered performance. This is very important. The ability to learn how to see people beyond somebody I want money from. So when a client is sitting before you, you're looking at that client as somebody who has a problem that needs a solution. That's why he came to you in the first place. And so it's not just in a lawyer's office. And you're not looking at him from the angle of, is he rich enough to pay my, to pay for my services or not? That goes beyond that. So those are basic elements of, bringing business into practice.
Tope, we are extremely grateful for all these words of wisdom from you. And with that, we would want to welcome our viewers to the break, after which we will be back with the next segment. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
This has been a NowMedia television feature presentation. All rights reserved.
Bienvenidos a Interior Bar Houston, el bar más vibrante de Downtown en la ciudad de Houston. En Interior, la fiesta nunca para. Nuestro DJ de clase mundial te mantendrá bailando toda la noche con la mejor música de hoy y de siempre. Además, aquí encontrarás las mejores bebidas y cócteles. En Interior, nuestro ambiente electrizante y nuestro equipo amigable te asegurarán una noche que nunca olvidarás. Te esperamos de 9:30 a 2 de la mañana. Interior, donde la diversión nunca se detiene.
El recuento informativo veraz y oportuno llega a los Estados Unidos. Zona de noticias, sábados y domingos de 2 a 4 de la tarde con Manuel Zamacona. Solo por NowMedia Televisión, en una coproducción con Heraldo Media Group.
¿Sueñas con vender tus productos o servicios en Estados Unidos? Pareciera muy difícil, mas no es imposible. Soy Edmundo Treviño y quiero compartir contigo más de 20 años de experiencia promoviendo productos latinoamericanos en el principal mercado del mundo. Si quieres aprender más, sígueme en todas mis redes sociales.
Hey, Lily. Lily says AT&T's giving everyone their best deals.
Minus the air quotes.
Best deals.
No need to wink. Others say they give everyone a deal, but not everyone gets the best deal.
Told you, the best deals are for everyone here, with a choice of plans.
You were right.
Is she always right?
Always.
At AT&T, we give everyone our best deals on every smartphone.
Hey everyone, this is Pierre-Louis, attorney, mediator, arbitrator. And welcome back. So Natalia, I know we're going to be having a discussion now on another legal topic that's always so much fun to discuss, and that is the area of discovery, something that is known around the world as being an extremely dry legal concept. But Natalia, before we start talking about it, could I get you to tell me what you think discovery is? I know you have a legal definition of it.
Actually, I have been so much wanting to know more about it, because this is something that I found very specific to the American law and a foundation for the legal system. I think that many people think how it happens that in the legal proceedings I'm going through, how I can find out something from the other party that I need for this very process. And, it seems unfair, and in the criminal law you have those rules that you are not obliged to give evidence against yourself. But discovery is actually something about giving evidence in the civil or family proceedings against yourself, because it is like a pretrial process that the American system wishes that the parties exchange information from each other about the case. And I found it absolutely fascinating that you can issue a formal pleading to other party to get to know something you need from the process from this very party. Am I right in saying that?
Yeah, so those are the basics. Thank you for that. And this idea of pre-trial discovery is something that's around this country, and it has been used and utilized so much in our jurisdiction in Texas that it's become, we have model forms. We literally have questions that have been promulgated by the authorities on what you ask and the rules specifically. For example, you have deadlines on when you have to respond by. You have a maximum number of questions you can ask. There are sanctions that can be put upon you if you don't respond when you are asked. So basically, discovery is the formal process through which you obtain legal information that you need to put on your case. A lot of times, especially in family law cases or any kind of civil suit, or even in criminal trials, you might not have all of the evidence that you need in order to put on your case. A lot of times, that evidence is in the hands of your opponent. And so you need to get it. You need a method, a process by which you can obtain the material, the evidence that you need in order to put on your case. And so the most common types of discovery you might see in family law, for example, would be four things. Typically, requests for disclosures. That's where the other side has to disclose to you their theories of the case, some witnesses they might be bringing, and different kinds of things that they may be aware of that's going on. You have to disclose things. That's request for disclosures. Another type of discovery that's very common is request for production and inspection of documents. And that's where the parties might have to be asked to turn over certain documentation, whether they're bank account statements or whether they're photographs or social media, documentation. So that's how they will surrender to you certain document for your review or inspection. So disclosures, production and inspection of documents, Another one is interrogatories, where you can ask a series of questions specifically to the case, relevant questions that you need to know, questions to help you figure out what this case is really about. And finally, there are requests for admissions, where you can get the person to admit to certain things. And questions, really, admissions are not questions, they're more like admit or deny statements, where the person is being basically cornered to have to admit something. And if they admit it, that helps you. You can show the judge that they admitted to certain things. But if they deny it, you might be able to impeach them to show that they are not telling the whole truth. So disclosures, production, interrogatories, admissions. Those are the most common ones we use all the time on our opponents. And if you are the one receiving the discovery, you might not be very happy, because now you have to divulge your life information. And then we get into discovery fights as a whole other discussion. But those are the basics.
Thank you. And tell me, does it also embrace taking depositions? And if yes, is it in writing or in oral form as well?
So yes, depositions are another form of discovery. Discovery. So you can have written depositions, and you can have depositions where the person is going to be interviewed, basically like they're a witness in a court, but you would only have the stenographer, the court reporter, the attorneys involved in an office, and they can ask the questions, and it's sworn and it's being recorded. And so there are different types of depots, as we like to call them, not as commonly used, especially in your run-of-the-mill, everyday family law case. But you can depose witnesses, you can depose parties to the lawsuit. So depositions is another tool that lawyers can use in their arsenal to try to get to the truth, to try to get information. So, but I do want to say one thing. So this would be the fifth type of discovery. Okay, so we talked about disclosures, production, interrogatories, admissions, and now depots. There's now something in the law that went into effect in 2021 in Texas called initial disclosures. Initial disclosures basically is the government's way of saying, listen, enough. We go through these fights between parties where they're trying to get information from each other. Enough. We're going to make everybody who's part of a lawsuit have to do initial disclosures, where they have to do some basic initial discovery in the very beginning without even being asked. And so initial disclosures has become kind of a big pain to a lot of lawyers, because it's more work on us. We have to get on our clients to start disclosing certain things. But I gotta admit, initial disclosures moves the process and the litigation process through pretty quick. Now, right when the case starts, you start disclosing information. If it's a divorce, you start disclosing statements in a bank account. If it's a custody case, you start disclosing your paychecks for child support. You start disclosing information quickly without being asked. And so what once was considered invasive now is just rudimentary. You need to disclose certain information so that both sides can start getting what they need to start moving the case towards settlement. Hopefully settlement. And if not settlement, then trial and having the courts make a decision.
And when I hear about how troublesome it is, how much information it might engage, tell me, what are the sanctions for it? What are the sanctions for not complying with the request?
Yeah, so there's lots of sanctions that can happen to you if you don't comply with the discovery rules. So typically you get served with discovery, you got your 30 days to answer, and you don't answer. You just blow it off, you don't bother responding to the questions. Well, the other side can, send a warning shot, warn you, hey, listen, I haven't gotten your discovery. I need them. I need to prepare for my case. And you blow them off again. Well, that will authorize and permit the other person to go to court and ask for a judge to sanction you, to punish you for not responding. You could, and so my tips, of course, would be don't let yourself be in that position where you're defending against not complying with the discovery rules. Rather, answer but object. You have a right to object. You can object to certain questions because they're not relevant, and object to certain questions that are overbroad and ask you to turn over things that don't exist. You got to answer something. Just not answering might not go over very well. But Natalia, one thing, when it comes to the whole issue of being sanctioned, this is one reason why the law changed a couple years ago, where they said, you know what, we're going to start doing initial disclosures. Now we deal with less of these sanctions because people don't find themselves going to court fighting about things that they didn't get or they didn't receive. I asked him, Judge, and he wouldn't give it to me. You don't have to do that anymore. Now, with the initial disclosures, everybody has to disclose certain things. And because of that, that makes for a smoother process where the parties know they're going to get the information, usually in the very beginning of the case, instead of having to go fight for it later on.
This was very informative, and I really thank you for that. And with that, we would want to close our episode for today.
So Natalia, as usual, it's good to work alongside you. Can't wait for you to be back right next to me, in person, back in Houston from NowMedia Studios. And as always, everybody, this is Legal Talk with Natalia and Mac, where we bring you tips and tricks of the legal, trade, and making sure that you get the information that you need to make educated decisions when it comes to getting a lawyer, when it comes to living with legal technology, when it comes to mediation. And so we're all about educating the public in this show. So thank you so much for participating alongside us and watching us. So be sure to check out the podcast, LMI Podcast. We're going to a new site as well, lmipodcast.com, where now you'll be able to get access to all of the videos and the commentary and the legal information that we give every week of the year. And so we're looking forward to continuing to grow it. And until next time, so I'm Mac Pierre-Louis, attorney, mediator, arbitrator. And find me at olowskapierre.com.
And Natalia Olowska-Czajka at olowskapierre.com. And see you next time.
Until next time.
This has been a NowMedia television feature presentation. All rights reserved.
¿Eres licenciado, ingeniero, abogado o enfermero? ¿Biólogo, agrónomo, veterinario o contador? ¿Administrador, mercadólogo o economista? ¿Te gustaría tener una oportunidad para trabajar de manera remota para empresas estadounidenses o incluso emigrar? En The US Marketer estamos buscando oportunidades para mexicanos con estas carreras. Si quieres aprender más, visita nuestra página para más información.
Tell me, are you looking to sell a house or buy a home? Hi, I'm Michelle Briggs, and your real estate needs are my priority. With over 2 decades worth of experience within the real estate industry, I know I can help. Whether you're selling a house and moving on to the next chapter or buying a home to create generational wealth for your family, I am the realtor for you. Call me now at 713-256-5465 and let me handle all of your real estate needs.
En esta era digital, las tarjetas de presentación de negocio son cosa del pasado. De hecho, la mayoría de las personas que las reciben las pierden en cuestión de minutos. La videotarjeta de negocios de NowMedia es un video de su negocio especialmente creado por nuestros expertos con toda su información de contacto, los productos y servicios de su negocio, y puede ser enviado de manera rápida utilizando su teléfono móvil. Cientos de negocios ya están viendo la diferencia. Llámenos hoy al 832-384-9588.
Hey, this is Michael Rager, the host of Biz Talk TV with Michael Rager. Make sure you join us every day, 5 p.m. Central Time on all NowMedia channels and social media platforms.
En esta era digital, las tarjetas de presentación de negocio son cosa del pasado. De hecho, la mayoría de las personas que las reciben las pierden en cuestión de minutos. La videotarjeta de negocios de NowMedia es un video de su negocio especialmente creado por nuestros expertos con toda su información de contacto, los productos y servicios de su negocio y puede ser enviado de manera rápida utilizando su teléfono móvil. Cientos de negocios ya están viendo la diferencia. Llámenos hoy al 832-384-9588.
¿Quieres que tu negocio crezca y todo parece indicar que el camino es Estados Unidos? Te dijeron que abras una LLC para que no pagues impuestos, mas no tienes idea de cómo hacerlo. Soy Edmundo Treviño y quiero compartir contigo más de 20 años como empresario en Estados Unidos para que tú no te equivoques en los mismos errores que yo ya realicé. Sígueme en todas las redes sociales para que juntos conquistemos el mercado americano.
Hey, Lily says AT&T's giving everyone their best deals.
Minus the air quotes.
Best deals.
No need to wink. Others say they give everyone a deal, but not everyone gets the best deal.
Told you, the best deals are for everyone here, with a choice of plans.
You were right.
Is she always right?
Always.
At AT&T, we give everyone our best deal.